Hi, this is our video presentation for our entry called Morse Mania in the Winter 2020 ENCMP 100 programming contest. So what is Morse Mania? Morse Mania is a retro-style pixel game intended to be as enjoyable as it is educational. It's a tool for learning Morse code, which we believe is a useful skill to have, and we believe this justified the creation of this game as a whole. So, now that you know what our project is about, here's some gameplay. As you can see, Morse code segments fall through the pixel display, and the user inputs data in order to cancel them out. If they touch the border, the time runs out, or they type in end, they lose. The original concept behind this game was to take whatever we learned in our lectures and to put it to its absolute limit. We decided to do so by creating a game where we'd print massive arrays full of pixels which could be turned on and off, and to print those in rapid succession to create the illusion of motion. Now we'll explain how our code works. Our game screen is composed of two separate components. Number one is the pixel screen on the left, which shows all the Morse code segments. On the right is the sidebar, which shows the time, the points, and whatever characters the player has input correctly. How we manage to make Morse code segments appear on the game screen is by taking a random word from our vocabulary, slicing them up into characters, and converting each character to Morse code, and by inserting them one by one in our game screen. These are the winning and losing conditions. By activating the kill switch you lose, and by activating the win switch you win. This is how we managed to get our screen to update in our game code. We managed to get the game screen to update on its own by taking a timer and initializing a game start. This timer updates the sidebar once per second and updates whatever is on the pixel screen and pushes it down once every t seconds, depending on the difficulty that the user selected at game start. Every time the screen updates, the game checks to ensure that kill conditions and win conditions have not been met. If the user inputs data and guesses incorrectly or correctly, the Morse code element associated with that data disappears and another Morse code element is added to the screen. If they guess incorrectly, another Morse code element is added to the screen. And as a result of creating this project, we learned many things. One thing we learned through the creation of this project was about the existence of redundant data. In many instances, we found our code utilizing arrays with redundant columns or rows, which provided no additional functionality to our game whatsoever. Thus, we spent multiple game versions simply weeding these out as they were an unnecessary use of RAM. The second thing we learned was about the usefulness of pseudocode diagrams. These diagrams were especially useful in understanding how output could be changed by differences in specific variables. And this helped both us partners share each other's ideas, and these were especially useful during the programming process. These helped break code into more manageable segments and helped us decide the order in which to edit things. One thing we learned through the process of creating this code was the usefulness of version history and changelogs. Something we noticed was that since we had so many versions of our code, we found that sometimes when we made mistakes in our programming and had to go back and copy things, we didn't know what version to take elements from. Thus, we began adding changelogs at the start of each version in order to understand what we changed and how we did so. But of course, with any code comes limitations, and ours is no different. For example, we utilize global variables in our code. While this is indeed undesirable, we decided to offer their usage due to complications with timers in our script. And the second limitation we found was that oftentimes, while the game used to request input, the kill switch turned on. This ended up with the game requesting input despite the fact that the game had already ended. Thus, we had to ask the user to press enter during the game over sequence. Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. Have a great day.